I'm gonna do like jazz where they scat. I'm gonna scat for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna riff a little bit.
No, my wife's having a baby tonight, but I told her this. I had to be here for this.
Hey everyone, and welcome to The Inside, a podcast where we get into the extraordinary minds and experiences of everyday people. I'm Jay, and with me, as always, is Adam. Hey Adam, how's it going, eh?
Pretty good, man. I've been doing a lot of work these past couple weeks. They've been working me pretty hard, which is good. I'm learning a lot. I've been playing my guitar some and then doing some running.
Oh, really? You've learned a lot.
Yeah.
That's good. But you've been keeping up with your running with all that working going on?
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yeah, I've been getting my miles in. Actually, my goal for this year, I turned it down a little, was to be 24 miles a week, but I'm actually been doing about 30.
Dang.
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm a junkie for that. We should do a running pod sometime.
Yeah, I'm down. But what's new with you?
Well, other than running and stuff for work is starting to gear back up. Which that's still going to be weird, I guess. But I've been, when I run, I don't know about you, but like I don't like to listen to my music and with headphones on because a lot of the roads I run on are rural roads. There's no sidewalk or anything like that, and having earbuds in can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know about for you, but it's
No,
better.
I don't like doing it.
Yeah, it's better to be able to hear the cars and stuff,
Yeah.
But I just watched a documentary on Nirvana
Sweet.
a couple weeks back, and I was a 20-something and in the 90s, and like bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and Dinosaur Jr. and all these like really awesome bands. That's right when they were out, and it was different. It was way different than what we had been listening to previously. So I made this 90s playlist, and I called it raw 90s because it's not like real commercial stuff. It's stuff that might be a little more obscure. So I've been listening to that quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been getting into some playlists too with one band in particular.
Oh, really? What? I'm curious to know what band that would be for you.
Well, I'm not gonna just give it away, but I'll give you a hint. It goes like, "Here, ho, here, ha."
What? What is that? What
Come
is
on.
that?
Ho, here, ho, ha.
What the heck? What does that mean?
It's ZZ Top.
Oh. God. You mean like, oh, ha.
That's not how you sing it. You gotta get your head screwed on straight, man.
Well, how would I even do that? What does that mean? I don't even get what that term, like, what does that mean?
Head screwed on straight?
Yeah, like, it's on me.
I don't know. I don't really know how you get your head screwed on straight either.
I think it's like a reference to like a psychology thing or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's ZZ Top, like they're from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, because their early albums were like
that was a yes. I said yes.
Yeah, like Trace Hombres and stuff like that. Well, lucky for us, our guest today, Jay Rubel, has lived in Texas for a long time, and also can help us get our heads on straight because
screwed on straight.
Whatever. I'm doing the intro, man. Don't interrupt me. Yeah, he can help us do that too because he's a psychologist, clinical psychologist, PhD level, big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
In Texas, they don't do small stuff. It's got to be a big deal.
Not at all. But what about? Well, then why don't we take a real big break? Maybe polish some silverware, and then see what he has to say.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna fold some laundry and maybe pet the Chihuahua.
Awesome. AJ, how's it going, man?
I'm all right, Adam. I'm doing pretty well. I'm just sitting back enjoying the weather here in the mountains of North Carolina. I often send pictures of the temperature to my mom and my sister back in Texas and make them jealous that it's about 40 degrees hotter there than it is here. I grew up in first part of my life in St. Louis, but I moved to Texas about age 11 and went to high school, middle school, high school, and college in Austin. I'm a proud Longhorn, University of Texas.
What was that? What was that like? I've never been to Austin. I heard it's a cool town.
Yeah, Austin's a very cool town. It's very different now. I mean, I graduated in 1994, but it was a great place to go. We had a lot of fun, a lot of live music, a lot of fun times down there. It's a great school, big school, about 50-something thousand kiddos. A lot of, really good sports, football. Also, spent some time down there selling my plasma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not too uncommon for college.
No, it's not. This was back when I was dating my first wife, and her dad was going to take us on a ski trip.
Okay.
And I just had to pay. All I had to do was pay for my ski rentals and stuff. He was paying everything else. It was like $200, but I mean, I had nothing. And I was trying to figure out how, to make money. And a friend of mine was like, yeah, you can sell your plasma. So at that point in time, I don't know if they still have those places, but in Austin, there were a couple by the university. And yeah, I just go hang out with mainly homeless people and watch like daytime soaps and give my plasma and then get a cookie. And so made a couple $100 and went skiing. It was really fun.
So were you guys, had you been dating very long? Or was that like, I'm going to impress you because
Oh, no.
to do this?
We've been dating for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We've been dating for a while, and her parents were very generous. And that was the same trip that I got there and discovered I didn't have any ski gloves. And my former father-in-law, who unfortunately has passed away about 4 years ago, was a great guy and very funny guy. And he went out and bought me some like day glow orange ski gloves. and the whole trip, he just made fun of me in those gloves. He was like, yeah, Jay, I saw you like 3 slopes over with those gloves. He just mercilessly made fun of me. But
now as a father of 2 daughters, you can understand why he really bought you those gloves, because he wanted to see where your hands were at all times.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly true. He wanted to see where my hands were. One of the first things he ever said to me was, keep your damn hands off my daughter. I actually said that at his funeral. When he had his funeral, I said, it's one of the very first things Bill said to me. He leaned in and said, keep your damn hands off my daughter.
That's amazing.
Bold.
Yeah.
What every father's thinking.
Yeah, what every father's thinking. Exactly.
Good for him, man. I have a lot of respect for him.
He's a great guy. He was a great guy. Miss him dearly.
Well, I'm guessing you're not still having to sell plasma. Like we changed it a lot.
No, we've moved past that.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of being done with stuff, when we grow up a little more and we move on to things, well, was there a part of your life you left behind when you left and moved from Texas to North Carolina?
Yeah, pretty much after we got here, right away, actually, life started kind of falling apart due to an addiction. I don't share a lot of details, but, that was an opportunity for me, in a new place, new job, not around anybody that I really knew. Very tough times. Kim and I separated and was living by myself. But through that and recovery and 12-step recovery and that kind of thing, I really kind of learned that how I was doing things in life wasn't really working, even though from the outside looking in, I had 2 beautiful daughters, a wife, a private practice. Of course there were things like that were great, but there were parts that were not. And, the last 8 years of my life have been really tough. But I'm also in a place now where, I'm just happier than I've ever been. Very close to my daughters. They know about what I've dealt with. I'm in recovery now. My relationship, with God is because of recovery. And, it's something I'm pretty passionate about. I don't go around telling everybody. But for people that ask or people that know me, and it's just part of my story because I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Obviously, you've moved on from the plasma selling underground industry. So what are you doing now for a living, Jay?
Right now, I am a clinical psychologist. I've been a psychologist for, over 20 years. And so like I said, before coming here to North Carolina, I had a private practice north of Fort Worth with a friend of mine, whose name was Ray. So we were Jay and Ray. Yes, we were. We were both psychologists, Jay and Ray. He still has the practice. I talk to him quite often. But I was working there, and now I work with a company called Meridian Behavioral Health. And it's a nonprofit community mental health center. And primarily I work with kids and families, but I have worked with adults and do a lot of supervision of other therapists. But I also occasionally teach a class at Western Carolina University in Cullowhee. And I just really enjoy working with kids and teenagers, helping them kind of learn more about themselves.
Yeah, that's really, really valuable work you're doing there. Was there someone that had an influence on you to get into this line of work and this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, when I was growing up, I really didn't think much about it. But my aunt, my mother's sister, is a clinical psychologist in St. Louis, where I'm from, and she's had a practice for probably as long as I've been alive. And I still. Usually I go visit her pretty regularly. Was supposed to go visit her this summer, but you know what happened, COVID. And so, but yeah, she's a clinical psychologist. She, has, kind of growing up talking to her about what she did and just little things like that. I've always been kind of curious, in, other people's brains and what makes people work. Although when I was a junior in high school, we had to write a paper on what we wanted to do. And I still have this paper somewhere. I wanted to be an orthodontist. So I have this paper that I wrote all about wanting to be an orthodontist. So I figured, orthodontia, psychology, they're kind of closely related,
Well, the ignorance of youth, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
We had this conversation one time before, Avid and I with somebody else, and I had said that when I was younger than what you're saying, but I thought, first thing I can remember is wanting to be a stunt man. Cause I'm short and like I'm low to the ground. Like I can just like fall and like roll and keep going. And when you're a kid, you're like rubbery. So like we're like jumping off the roof of the house and all
Parkour.
Yeah, it didn't matter. You just couldn't get hurt. But I'm so glad I didn't do that.
I'm so glad parkour is not a thing anymore.
Wait, it's not?
Well, it's died down, I think.
I was just doing it earlier today in the backyard.
Okay, well, Jay Rubel's starting his own podcast, the One Man Parkour Band. The only guy left.
This week in parkour.
Yeah.
Well, you had mentioned the pandemic, and so as a therapist working in the pandemic, what are you learning from that?
Well, lots of things. Learning that therapy can be done over Zoom or any other platform. FaceTime, Skype,
Microsoft Teams,
WebEx, Cisco. any of those things. It can be done. It's hard. It's pretty hard with younger kiddos. Their attention spans aren't very long, of course. And so it's an alternative. I think that one of the things that we're learning is it will certainly continue to be an option for some people who are isolated. Also learning that as great as it is to be able to work from home and do this, it's getting really old. People are having what we call Zoom fatigue. Just it's hard to engage people a week after week, whereas when you're seeing them in person, it's just different. Also learning how much it's affecting me as a person. I've always, even though I'm a psychologist, I've always been someone who's kind of historically not talked about my feelings, always just presented kind of everything's great. And part of that relates to what, my struggles with addiction. But really I'm using this as an opportunity to, when I have meetings with coworkers, because we're all therapists and we're all touchy-feely people, we always check in how we're doing and ask about each other's feelings and all that silly stuff. And I'm honest. I'll say, I've been struggling. There's been days where I've actually had to just take the day off because I'm not in a headspace to talk to other people. So yeah, I'm learning to just be honest about how I'm doing. So I encourage that from everybody. It's hard. It's a little scary. Go slow. You don't want to just unload on people right away, but take baby steps.
Yeah. Save the unloading.
Yeah. Save the unloading for the close family and friends. Build to it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your family, like you said that you told us before, Adam and I, when we talked to you before, that you love having a family and doing stuff to take care of them. And in fact, earlier, I know people can't see this, but you were sharing your shirt with us. So tell us just briefly about that shirt you have on.
Oh yeah. So this shirt is that we were talking about, it's a Father's Day gift I got a couple years ago, and I'm not a cat person. But it's a cat. Yeah, I'm a dog person, but it's a cat with some shades on and a crown, and he's blinged out. I mean, he's got serious ropes going on with gold, and it says Big Paw Paw, and on the side. And my daughters gave it to me a couple years ago. Thankfully, I'm not a grandfather yet. My daughters are 19 and 17. But yeah, Big Paw Paw, and so yeah, I'm very, very, very much involved in their lives and talk to them all the time.
Well, it's just I think it's an honor to get a shirt like that. A couple years ago, I got a shirt for my kids that was a Simpson character. I can't remember. I don't know who the guy is. Probably an unnamed character, right? But he's just like this old, wrinkly guy, and he's carrying a skateboard, which me and my kids skateboard together. And it says, "Still got it."
It wasn't Homer's dad, was it?
No, but it was probably like some guy that lives with Homer's dad in the rest home or something,
Who's your favorite Simpsons character?
Homer, by far.
Oh yeah, mine's Ralph Wiggum.
Oh god.
I ate my paste.
My dad's the chief of police now.
Anyway. Yeah, it's and then I got a hat here that we were looking at earlier. It's like a beanie hat with like a little light because I hike and stuff and camp, and so that was nice. You can recharge the light and it comes out, so you can safely wash the hat.
I think the rechargeable light there is really the key. The key
because even when the hat gives out, you can just keep using the light.
Yeah, because that hat's going to give out as much as you hike, right? It's just going to melt right off your head.
I'm gonna wear this hat out.
Well, now that your kids are 17 and 19, and now
put the hat on.
Now that now that they're growing up, I hear that you and your wife have another teenager in your home. Though.
Yeah, we do. We have a 14-year-old foster daughter in our house.
How'd that happen?
Well, we went to Walmart for milk.
Yeah.
Took the wrong turn. We went, don't go to aisle 32A, guys. No, so Erin, my wife, has been involved with was involved with the Big Brother, Big Sister program here in Haywood County, and has had this young woman, I can't use her name, but been with her big sister since we got married about 5 years ago. And then in January of this year, we were approached by DSS and her caseworkers and asked if we would be interested in taking fostering her. And we talked about it, said yes, and now we are next week, actually, unless it gets delayed or postponed. There's a court date next week where we expect to be granted guardianship, which is permanent.
Yeah.
And so we expect her to be part of our family forever, of course, but for her to live with us until she's out of hie school. And then she's gone. We're just kicking her out.
like the rest of them.
We give them $100, some hot pancakes, and a cold Coke. Get out of here, kid.
Man, that's
so, yeah. So we have. I've got 3 daughters now and a wife.
That's beautiful.
2 dogs that are boys. So we got some masculinity.
We briefly talked about earlier how you and one of your daughters does the Make-A-Wish Trailblaze Challenge. What's the story behind that? What's it like? Yeah,
so the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Trailblaze Challenge is something I'd never heard of until, I guess it was 2008, 17. I don't even remember. I saw it on a billboard out in Asheville, and all it said was Trailblaze Challenge, and then it had a web address. And so I looked it up, and basically it is a hike. They have them, Make-A-Wish Foundations across the country have their own version, but the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Western North Carolina has this hike twice a year. They have one in October and April, and it's completely insane. You basically sign up to raise money. Each hiker has to raise a minimum amount of money to participate. And then you meet up in the middle of nowhere, Georgia, with about 90 other hikers. They put you up in a hotel. You get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you take a van, and you drive to the trailhead, and then you hike 28.6 miles because that's fun.
Dang.
In one day. Yeah.
Wow.
So they say it's not a race, it's a journey. It's not a race. You're not timed. You're not, you don't get medals or anything like that. And you don't have to finish. So my eldest daughter, Gracie, I went to this thing. They had this sign up for the information thing. It was at the North Carolina Arboretum in Asheville. And I got there, and they started talking about what it was. And I was like, oh, I hike all the time. I can hike. And then they were like, it's 28.6 miles in one day. It's supported. There's 4 stops with water and bathrooms and food. And so I was like, okay. And then they're like, and you got to raise $2,500 a hiker.
Dang.
Oh. So I called Gracie. She was with her mom on a trip and said, hey, do you want to do this? And she's like, sure. Yep, we're doing it. And so we signed up. The first year, both years we raised the minimum, at least the 5,000.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we hiked it twice. We liked it so much the first time that the next year we went back and did it again.
Well, what's the hardest part about that? Because I heard you had a little meltdown the first year there. Really.
Oh yeah. Well, the hardest part about it is raising the money. The hiking is relatively, I actually enjoy the hiking. You start off at night and you have headlamps and stuff. But the first year, a hurricane had come through. I don't remember the hurricane. It was 2017. And this is you're hiking actually in North Carolina, then Georgia, and you end up in South Carolina. And so they were like, there's trees down all over the trail. Just be prepared. And so Gracie and I were hiking. We were kind of by ourselves. And there was this tree that had fallen like from the above the trail over the trail. And the root ball was this huge mass of mud and we couldn't figure out any other way to go around it. There was no other way. The trunk was huge. So she scampered up over it and went down. And I went up, and it was wet. And I got to the top, and I just lost my footing. And I like slipped down and rolled, and my poles fell. And my backpack, and I stood up and I was like, I want my money back. I hate it. And I started screaming. I threw my poles. I picked my poles and threw them. And I was like, are you listening? I want my money back.
It's not even your money.
I know. It's not even my money. And
how far were you in at that point?
We were probably
half a mile.
We were probably, yeah. This was from the parking lot to the trailhead. No, this was probably.
Can you imagine him in front of everybody?
Yeah, it's like in the van ride. I quit.
No, there was nobody around. We were probably about 8 miles in, so it was daylight. I mean, we started hiking at 4:30, and this other team, like father son, kind of came up behind us afterwards. But I was screaming and yelling, and I just kind of stopped. And Gracie's like 16 at the time, and she looks at me and she goes, all right, Dad, are you done having your fit? Because we got a lot of hiking to do. And she just handed me my backpack, and I was like, all right, I guess we're going to hike. And that kid, she's not little, that kid just took off, and we just hiked for the rest of the time. And so the next year was meltdown free.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you learned your lesson, young man.
I learned my lesson. Shut up and hike.
What would you say to anybody who wanted to try that?
Well, anyone that wanted to try that, I would say do it. You do not have to hike the entire thing. There are some people that will hike the first section. There's, like I said, there's 4 different way stations, and you can hike a little bit. And if you're got a blister or you're done, you can just stop there, and they'll collect enough people. They'll put you on a van, and they'll drive you to the. They have this cool thing where they'll actually drive. If you want, they'll drive you to this place. The last mile they call the Miracle Mile, and there's like pictures of all the kids. These little pendants that you take one and put it on, and you wear it. And there's people along the way cheering you and stuff for that last mile. So they'll drop you off there, and they encourage you to hike that last mile. But I would encourage you to do it. You gotta be ready to raise that money though, because you straight up give them a credit card number, and it's no joke.
Just start selling plasma.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. Plasma for kids.
There you go. Yeah, so really you could just raise the money and do that last mile and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you're still raising at least $2,500 for kids. I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I ran in a race. It's a relay race. It's a long race. It's over 200 miles long here in Western North Carolina, called the Smoky Mountain Relay, and that it ends at the Nantahala Outdoor Center. And the year I ran it, I ran the last leg. And you run 3 or 4 legs over a period of time. So, but at the last leg, as you're coming in, it's like what you're explaining, where like you have team members waiting there for you, and they join you, and then everybody runs across the line together, and people are cheering and stuff. And there's a big party and stuff at the end. It's a lot of fun. So I imagine it's kind of the same type of experience where you're coming across and people are cheering and stuff. It's really...
Yep. And then people promptly collapse and blisters and sore feet.
Well, Jerry, we got a speed round for you. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
If you were working a concession stand and someone ordered a chili dog with barbecue on it, what would you call it on the short order speak?
Oh, I can't remember. It's hog on a log or rusty nail.
Okay.
Rusty nail.
Pavlov or Maslow?
Pavlov. I'm salivating right now.
Rock or country?
Rock.
Beer or whiskey?
Oh, beer.
Shaved or natural? Talking about your face.
Yeah. Natural.
All right. Floppy or stiff?
You mean my discs?
So yeah, triceps.
Triceps.
Oh, very stiff.
Okay. Live in 1850 or 2150?
Oh God. Assuming it's still around 2150.
Baseball cap or sock hat?
I'm gonna go with the baseball hat, even though I have the sock hat. I'm a baseball hat kind of guy.
Well, Jay, thanks for coming on today, man. It was a blast.
Appreciate it, guys. Had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun hearing your stories and getting some laughs in too.
All right, guys. Take care.
Later.
See you, Jay.
All right.
I really loved the part where he talked about, well, it was funny to me where he talked about selling his plasma to go on a ski trip with his future wife. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
He must have been really desperate there. But I also thought that it was the meaningful experiences he has with his daughter with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Trailblaze Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
I could see me doing that with one of my kids one day.
You get all grumpy and have a meltdown like he did.
Oh, trust me. Yes, that would happen. How about you?
I really like the fact that he was able to move to a new place, and like the act of putting himself in this really good new North Carolina environment made a really big difference in his life. I'm a big believer that, just like we saw with Jay here, surrounding yourself with these good people in the right environment can make a really big impact on your life. I think there's a lot of people out there who just were dealt a worse hand growing up through no fault of their own, and that with a little more support and community around them, it can really just turn their life around and make a difference. And it doesn't have to be something major. It could be something small, like how you handle an interaction with someone or something like that.
Really, I mean, that's what Western North Carolina does to you.
Sucks you in and never spits you out.
I mean, it's just the right community.
Well, I think that's pretty much it for today, right?
Yeah, that'll wrap her up.
Alrighty, and that was The Inside. Again, Jay's Instagram is @JRUBEL. Special thanks to our guest today, Jay Rubel, who is also our consulting editor. We also would like to thank our producer, Dave. The show is written, recorded, edited, and co-produced by Jay and myself. Our title music, Crossroads, was written by Rock Sounds. We'll have a link in the show description. Our title music was performed by Keith Richards, and we'll have more episodes coming soon, so make sure to listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to follow us on Instagram @The Inside Podcasters, or send us an email to theinsidepodcasters@gmail.com. We're done!
How was that?
It was all right.
They say it's not a race, it's a journey. The last mile they call the miracle mile. And there's like pictures of all the kids, these little pendants that you take one and put it on and you wear it. And there's people along the way cheering you and stuff.